Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Now, Devi's been complaining I've not been smiling enough, so
We are happy.
coming. So, we're starting one of 3 new messages, essentially on the general topic of how to really work as a medium, communication with the other side, life after death, etc. And tonight's topic is delivering unmistakable messages from the other side, or basically why it's so difficult. Not so much how to do it, but why most people can't do it, I think is the major topic.
It's because mediumship is more than just intuition. It's got to be specific and evidential.
Absolutely.
So that's the difference. Yeah.
Now, Devi told me that I wasn't to speak as much. So, Devi, over to you for the news.
Over to me for the news. All right. We've got our new newsletter coming out this weekend. There's an article about, oh my gosh, International Women's Day. There are ads, a list of all the talks that we have coming up, and a couple other surprises. So watch for that. That should be out this weekend. Obviously, Whitney is not here today. Our new hostess is not here.
It's International Women's Day, and our new woman employee is not here.
Yes, she couldn't make it. She had previous obligations before she came on this job. We have also recruited a new person named Michael, and he will be be a training advisor and doing sales and texts and things like that.
Do you think we should tell them about the plans for the open circles?
We could. We're planning on starting to host open circles a couple times a month. This would be $50 per month for both circles, or $25 per circle. I'm not sure how we are handling that just now. And we could have up to 100 people come into these circles, and we will work with, we'll do opening and a guided meditation, and then we'll work with as many people as we can until the end of the 2-hour period. So not everybody's going to get to work, but
yeah,
you'll learn just from sitting, even if you aren't working.
Yeah. And we're also thinking about making some changes to the professional medium program.
Yes.
Basically, we've got some people doing it, and they're not putting in enough hours per week. So what we're going to do is expand it from 6 months to 12 months. Now, it doesn't mean to say that you won't be earning by the end of the 12 months. You should really be earning by month 6, 7, 8. But we're going to take the pressure off that we're putting on people and spread it over the whole year.
Exactly.
Okay.
Let's see what else. Let's see. Streamed events are now Tuesdays instead of Wednesdays. So if you missed this, you can catch us next Tuesday at 4:30 Central, 5:30 Eastern. Let's see. And one of the videos, we've got new video of Marc and Ying's walks in Scotland. Do you have
we've got 2 of them, which we've already showed you videos about, which are going to be streamed in March. This is one that probably won't be streamed till April because March is just absolutely fully booked. But this is Preston Mill, which you've probably never heard of, but you may have seen it because it was in episode 3 of Outlander. So my wife is filming me and I'm filming her. You see, we're a multi-camera business, a multi-camera organisation in the Pennycook Podiatrist Clinic and Marc Stuart Medium Training. Now, in case you wondered who that was in the photo signing the book. I honestly can't remember her name, but she's the author of Outlander.
Oh, really? Diana Gabaldon.
Yeah, and I
Yes,
did give him a business card as a Scottish medium, and she said, "Oh, I'll be in touch," and that was 3 years ago, and I'm still
and she
waiting.
never got in touch. That would have been fabulous. I'd love to do a reading for her. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get busy. Let's argue then. So,
all right.
There's one thing that most people that want to do mediumship don't realize. Well, there's really two things. This is a flip side coin. Number one, by not giving evidential medium evidence. Now, we've covered this so many times. I don't want to spend another 10 minutes explaining what evidential messages are. I'm just going to take it for granted that you know what it means. But in case you don't, it's basically, if you give a message to somebody, let's say I brought Devi's father forward and I said, gave her the evidence of her father. She says, yes, that's my father. What's he got to say? And I then say, oh, your dad sends his love. He absolutely loves you.
I know that.
Exactly. The number of times I have sat, even in churches, and watched mediums do that message after message after message after. I just want to get a gun and shoot the medium, to be honest. As a professional medium, that's my reaction when I see people delivering messages like that.
Yeah.
So that kind of leads into the main point I'm trying to make. Everybody goes to, come on, you know it yourself. There are free circle after free circle after free circle after free circle on Facebook. You go to them and they all do messages like that. And then the people think, oh, I've given a message, I'm fantastic. They run out, hand out the business cards, and nothing ever happens because they don't give evidential messages. Now, why do they not give evidential messages? Well, number one, they've not been trained properly, so they don't know.
I was going to say that. That's the big one.
Yeah, so they don't know what they're looking for. But the question from that then is, why do they need training? Why can you not just do it with your intuition? Well, here's the reason. Everybody thinks that the spirits are sitting there yabbering away at you, typing messages, sending you telegram messages, sending you WhatsApp, whatever imagery. What people don't realize is it's harder for the spirit to communicate with the medium than it is for the medium to communicate with the spirit.
Absolutely.
And spirits get training as well. You don't just die, waking up on the other side. Oh, I'll just go and tell my son that I love him. I mean, I'm being sarcastic. Obviously, they do. But they need to know how to get that message across. Now, that's probably a bad example because everybody that's lost somebody feels the presence of the person that's just passed. And that's not grief. That's for real. Your loved ones do come back and you do feel them. Now, Devi, I've been talking too long. You want to take over?
Well, I was just going to say yes, absolutely. The same thing you just said is absolutely. I've had people come to me very immediately after their death. But then it was just a vague impression. It wasn't a conversation like
exactly.
I know with the spirits. Yeah.
Exactly. So here's what usually happens to me as a medium. Somebody loses a loved one. They go through a month, let's say, of grieving. They're still grieving. They look through the yellow pages. They look online. They find Marc Stuart Medium. I get a message from them. Can you contact my mother? Okay. I always ask them, how long has it been since your mother passed? Oh, she died 8 weeks ago. And I will tell them, don't come and see me. Don't waste your time going to see any medium. Come back in 4 months. Now, there's two reasons for that. Number one, they're still grieving, and I don't want to take advantage of them. I wouldn't take advantage of them, but there are people that say they're mediums out there that will take advantage of them, and they'll say, yeah, come along, I will connect you with your mother. Now, they may very well connect them with their mother, but the mother on the other side, the spirit on the other side, hasn't been there long enough to learn how to communicate, to learn how to get about, to learn how to survive day to day on the other side. And they're not capable of giving a full, frank message.
Mm-hmm.
So usually when a spirit on the other side comes forward for the first time, you get another spirit coming forward. So usually the person comes back to see me, let's say after the 4 months, fine. I sit them down, I bring another spirit forward, and it's, no, that's not my mother. That's not what I'm here for. I have actually had people say that. You get it more in churches than in private readings. But what they don't realize is that spirit is helping their loved one to come forward, because their loved one has never been able to come forward because their loved one's got big L plates on. I'm not saying they've got L plates on to the medium, but the medium picks up very quickly that there's another spirit there that is having difficulty coming through. That's a medium with proper training. And they work with the sort of like the intermediary spirit, and the intermediary spirit helps the loved one to come forward. And then usually at that point, the sitter, the client, when you explain this to them, is happy.
Yeah, it works. It's happened to me several times. As a matter of fact, you gave me a reading about a month after my beloved ex-husband passed, and the message was kind of garbled, but I knew it was him.
Yeah. So, I mean, that leads into the second point.
Right.
When the spirit comes forward for the first time by themselves, it comes across as garbled gibberish. Now, the evidence is correct. Don't get me wrong. The evidence of the spirit that's the easy bit. I'm going to say anybody that's been in a circle a few times should be able to do that. So, fine. Then you have, okay, we're not doing a training exercise here, but there's a technique that the medium then does to break the evidence section and move into the message section. And the message section is just suddenly becomes random bits and pieces that are not connected. So you're sitting there as the medium trying to figure out, what on earth does all this mean? The sitter may or may not be quite happy with what they get. Oh, yeah. I mean, for example, here's a reading I gave myself a few weeks back. Got a bit about the car. Yes, I'm having a car problem. I got a bit about the house. Yes, I'm having a house problem. Something about the kid. And it was all evidential, but none of it was connected. There wasn't a coherent message to it. And it turned out later, she gave me the feedback and she said, yeah, that was whoever it was. And they only passed away about 5, 6, 7 months ago. And I haven't got a message. I've been to 2 mediums and I haven't got a message from them. You're the first medium that's got a message from them. And I'm saying, well, that explains why it doesn't make any sense, to be honest. She's going, oh, but it did make sense. I said, no, it didn't. You didn't get a coherent message. She was quite happy with the evidence. She was quite happy to be told that her loved one was coming forward. But me as the medium, I'm sitting there thinking, not happy with what I've done. However,
you if they don't tell you up front that somebody passed early, there's no way around that. You're going to find those people.
Yeah. So, I mean, that kind of leads back to where we started when we were talking about this, evidential mediumship.
Right.
So, evidential mediumship means 2 things as far as I'm concerned. Number 1, evidence of the spirit. Now, as I said, that's the easy bit. That's the bit that everybody should be able to do. But number 2, an evidential message. So what do I mean? I suppose the corollary of that is, what is a non-evidential message? It's your daddy loves you. Your mummy loves you.
Yeah. I'm sensing so much love.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, how many times have you seen a medium just stand there and give the same cop out? Because that's what it is. I'm not going to pull my punches. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. It's a total cop out message when the medium just stands there and gives variations on those words.
You're not boring me. I just keep yawning. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. In case anybody's wondering why we're not up to our usual banter, we just had a 3-hour company meeting.
It was a little long.
Yeah, it was a little longer than planned.
Right. So okay. Let's talk about personality and humor and spirit communications. Spirits often are sarcastic, or they're trying to be funny, or they have personal quirks. And these are to validate their actual presence. If you say you have someone and they're doing the knee crossing dance from, you know what I mean, I would know exactly who it was.
Yeah.
Because my grandfather used to do that, or one of my grandfathers, right? So don't ignore stuff like that. Don't just say, hey, he's being funny. Be specific about it. about everything you get. If you see a banana on the floor, say, I see a banana on the floor. It may not mean anything to you, but it may mean something to the sitter.
The other thing to remember about that is, if, for the sake of argument, if I give Devi a message from her ex-husband, now I don't know anything about Devi's ex-husband, but obviously the word ex is in that statement. Now, I know Devi and her ex-husband were friends, but they still got divorced. There must be some underlying reason, whether it's just a simple they disagreed. Doesn't matter.
Right.
But the point I'm trying to make is, when the spirit comes forward and you give the message from that spirit to the sitter, I always remind the sitter, remember, it's the same personality. The personality hasn't changed. So Debbie's talking about humor. If that person was sarcastic and they're giving you something that seems, if I'm suddenly going overly sarcastic. Now, I am sarcastic and I do use a sense of humor in my messages. So that's probably a bad example. But if I suddenly start telling jokes in the way that the father, Debbie's ex-husband, God, Debbie's ex-husband's not her father, the way that Debbie's ex-husband
he's
did.
my daughter's father. How's that?
Yeah, okay.
My baby daddy.
But you know what I'm saying? If Devi never agreed with anything her ex said, and if that's the reason why they got divorced, then why? I know, I'm just making it up, Devi. To give an example. But if her ex starts telling her to do something, and Devi's going, "Oh, that comes from spirit," I always caveat it by saying, "Remember, you're an independent person. This is only the opinion of the spirit." Now, okay, the spirit's got a wider range,
a wider frame of reference, perhaps.
Yeah, they've got a wider frame of reference than you have, but it's still the same person, and it's still take on board what they're saying, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So how do you build confidence and trust what you're receiving?
Training. I mean, how else do you do it? And repetition.
Repetition.
I mean, it's the old adage of, it takes 10,000 hours to become an expert at anything.
True.
Whether you're a medium, whether you're playing an instrument, whether you're a sports person, whether you're trained to be an accountant or a lawyer. I mean, let's be blunt about this. If you're going to hire a lawyer and you go into the firm of lawyers and the person sitting in front of you looks like a 20-year-old, and you say to them, "How old are you?" "I'm 21. Okay, fine. My next question would be, when did you graduate? Last week. Would you trust that person to take your court case to the High Court? Now, I don't know what the courts are in America.
Well, it's a little different, but yes, you wouldn't trust a brand newbie. They'd have to be working with a senior partner, or with an older,
Exactly. Well, it's the same for mediumship. I mean, I think I told this joke earlier, so it shows how tired I am. But the number of times we see people in Scotland that come to a church circle, they come once, they give a message, and you never see them again. And then 2 months later, business cards start appearing everywhere locally. Joe Bloggs, medium. And it suddenly dawns on you, "Oh, Joe Bloggs. Joe, that was the guy that was in the circle 2 months ago."
So did he get training, or did he just decide he was a professional medium?
He just decided they've been to one. They literally, we've got names for them in Scotland that I'm not going to repeat online. But they go to 1 or 2 circles. The first time they give a good reading. Now, remember, in a circle, you've got the circle leader that's holding your hand.
Right.
And you're in a protected environment. You've got lots of energy that's being generated by all the people in the circle. There's a lot of experienced people in that circle. They maybe don't want to be professional mediums, but they go to the circle. It's as much social as anything else. And they build up the energy. So it's very easy for a newcomer to come along, give a message, and before you know it, they suddenly they think they've got wings on. They think they're floating around the ceiling, and they're away giving private messages. And 95% of the messages they're giving falls flat on its face.
Yeah, it happens because they don't have the experience behind them yet.
Yeah. I mean, building trust. There's 2 sides to building trust. There's the trust with the sitter and the trust that the sitter has in you, and there's the trust that spirit has in you.
Exactly.
So if you start, okay, now we've done talks on this before, but if you start acting unprofessionally, you lose the trust of the marketplace because nobody's going to come and hire you.
And you lose the trust of spirit too.
Yeah. And if you lose the trust of spirit, they just pull the rug out from under you.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're just sitting there going, somebody come and give me a message, please.
Yes. That happened to me when we were in New York, remember?
Yeah.
I was like, wait, I'm not getting anything. That was a physical, it was a medical issue, but it was very strange and very scary.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose the other side of what we're talking about in terms of we're saying it takes the spirits time to communicate with us kind of raises the question, what's it like on the other side? So let's cover that.
Well, wait a minute. Isn't that a whole other talk?
Yeah, but we're kind of moved into it.
Okay, go ahead.
You know, I mean, you're waking up on the other side and think of it like this. Probably this is the best example to give. Imagine that you've had your leg amputated. When you're waking up I've never had my leg amputated, so I'm only going by what I've been told. But you're waking up and you still feel as though you've got your leg. So you still feel as though you can stand up and walk. Obviously you can't. And I'm not making fun of the person. That's just be absolutely clear. I'm not making fun of anybody that's ever had a limb amputated. But there's a medical term for it.
It's called phantom limb pain.
Yeah. So you think you still have your limb.
Mm-hmm.
So let's take that one step further. You're dead. You've lost your body. What is your body? It's all your limbs. You're waking up on the other side. You think you still have a body. So you have to learn to stop walking. Now, it's not the same because you can get up in your body, your phantom body, let's call it. You can get up, you can move around, you can interact with the spiritual world. You are still you. But you have to learn the psychic side, the spiritual side, that your energy, that you can, and I don't know. I mean, I'm making this up. I'm only going on what I've been told by spirit. I'm not making it up in terms of fantasy. What I'm trying to say is I've been told by my guide what it's like, and I'm trying to explain that secondhand.
It's difficult because I've been shown what it's like and told what it's like, and it's hard to explain when people ask you.
Yeah. So you have to learn to not walk. You have to learn to not talk. You have to learn psychic communication, spiritual communication. You have to learn to be able to touch each other as energy flows. So you come back. Imagine the spirit coming back in the first week and trying to communicate with you. It's a presence. They can't connect with the energy of you. They're still trying to speak. So their mouth is going like this.
But you can't hear anything. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, if I don't see spirit, but if you know,
I do.
there are,
So,
so there are mediums like Devi that see the spirit. So yeah, the medium can see the spirit standing there doing things. And okay, you can maybe do physical communication. They can maybe shake things with their hands.
But, sign language or hand signals, but that's about it.
It only goes so far. So okay, I mean, I think we're getting, as you said, we're getting sidetracked.
Yeah.
I think we've pretty much covered this to death. What do you think?
Yes. So how would viewers recognize signs from spirit?
Get trained, basically.
Get trained. If you're getting synchronicities a lot in your life, there are no coincidences.
Yeah.
If you're reporting sensitive, if you're getting synchronicities in your life or you're getting premonitions of stuff, that's probably communication with spirit.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, it was money. Don't take this the wrong way. I'm not saying it was motivation of money to make money. What I'm saying is there were synchronistic events that happened to my mother. Now, I've told this story before, so I'll keep it as short as I can. My father was terminally ill. He died. The doctor said he would live for 2 years. He lived for 8 years. So for 6 years, there was a financial drain, a time drain on the whole family, having to run the business that he and my mum had bought while he was terminally ill. I had told him it was a hotel. I had told him, don't buy the hotel at that price. It's £50,000 more than you need to pay. But he was panicking. He thought, oh, a hotel will be brilliant. My mum, his wife, will be able to run it. So they went ahead. They paid the price. My mum, so they ran it for, or my mum ran it. I ran it with my mum for 6 years after they bought it. My mum, a year later, 7 years after, tried to sell it, and they weren't going to get the price that she needed to clear the borrowing that the bank had given. The bank turned around unprompted and said, here's £40,000. They literally wrote £40,000 off the mortgage.
Wow.
Now, have you ever in your entire life had a bank do that to you?
No.
No reason,
Never.
no prompting. I mean, she hadn't even put the property up for sale. So we didn't, she didn't even know what kind of price she was going to get offered. And the bank manager came forward and said there was a board of directors. It had gone all the way up to the board of directors.
Wow.
Said we had a board of, we had a meeting, or the bank board had a meeting last week, and we just want to let you know that your mortgage to get redeemed will be £40,000 less than you need to pay us.
I wonder if that could happen to me.
Yeah, that was the first. She put the property up for sale. She got an offer. Now, it was a property chain. Now, if you don't understand what that means, it means that somebody offered her the price that she was looking for, subject to them selling their own property. Okay, fine. So my mum went out. A long story. She found an apartment above my one. She made an offer, and they accepted. No, sorry, beneath my one. She made an offer. They accepted. But the people that had offered on her hotel, her property, took too long, and eventually the apartment that she was buying turned around and said, no, sorry, we can't wait any longer, gone. The day after that happened, the apartment above my apartment came up for sale. Now, it was a better apartment because it had a better view of the harbour. And on the same day, the people that had not completed suddenly completed. Now, this all happened in 24 hours. So all of a sudden, she's got the money and there's a better property. She makes the offer and it gets accepted at a lower price than what she was paying for the first property.
Perfect.
Now, okay, there's a lot of coincidences in there, but the numbers all followed through, everything on the last day. I just knew something had gone right, and I got a message. I just felt my father's presence. Now, this is long before I even thought about becoming a medium. So, okay, fine. Jump forward a year. I end up in a spiritualist church. I get a reading from a medium who takes me, after the service, takes me aside and says, look, I need to give you a reading. Takes me into the kitchen, bars the door so that nobody else can come in. 50 minutes later, reading's finished, and I am, my God, totally convinced. And 2 months after that, I'm sitting in circle. So that's the chain of events that got me into mediumship. But if those synchronistic events hadn't happened, I don't think I would have ended up in the spiritualist church to get that message from my father, which pretty much confirmed everything I've just said and a lot more. That was so accurate and so unbelievable that I had no doubt at any point for the rest of my life that my father was with me and all the rest of it.
Yeah. So anyway, we're getting near the end of our time.
Yes.
So just as a recap, mediumship is about delivering undeniable evidence from that loved ones continue to exist beyond the physical world, on the other side after they've passed. So that's what we do, is a good medium will prove life after death.
And remember that it's harder for the spirit to give the evidence to the medium than it is for the medium to connect to the spirit and give the message to you. Absolutely. So that's why it's, I was going to say important, that's why it's essential for anybody that wants to do this to get proper training. And yes, I'm being honest, we do training.
We do it.
But you don't need to come to us. Go to your local spiritualist. If you don't come to people like us, the first port of call should be your local spiritualist church. So I'm going to say that bluntly. Mm-hmm. If you're in Scotland, for example, there'll be a church within 25 minutes of wherever you are. Find the church, go to a couple of circles, introduce yourself to whoever it is that organizes the circle. So go to a couple of services, introduce yourself, and say you want to join the circle, and go join the circle.
However, most of America, like where I live, it's about 5 hours to the closest spiritualist church.
Yeah.
So if you can't always get to one.
So I suppose that leads into don't go running to the first circle you can find. Check out the medium first. The best way to check the medium out is to go and get a reading from them. Don't tell them you want to be trained. Go and get a reading from the medium.
Mm-hmm.
See how good they are. See how bad they are. Don't judge the medium on the quality of the message they give you. Judge the medium on the structure of the message.
Right.
Do they ask to work with you? Do they give you evidence of the loved one? Do they subdivide the message into two parts, then move into a coherent evidential message, and then close the message off? If the medium is randomly mixing the evidence from the spirit up with the message, like if you suddenly get, let me
it
show you.
happens all the time.
Yeah, let me show you what I mean. So play out with me, Devi. So
Gotcha.
Devi, I've got a man coming forward, bald like yourself, big glasses like you, but he's much taller. Do you think you could recognize him?
Yeah, probably.
He wants to talk about your cat. Now, I know you've got a cat. Have you got 6 cats, Debbie?
Yes, I've got 6 cats.
Oh, now this man used a walking stick.
He did. Okay. Yes, he did. Yes,
okay.
He did.
Now, I know. Oh, I mean, obviously, Debbie, I know you drive a car. Oh, by the way, I think this is your father, and I think he's trying to tell you that he loves you.
Yeah, I've gotten readings like that actually, and I'm like, huh?
Yeah, and something about your shoes. Have you? Is there something going on in your life about your shoes, Debbie?
Actually, yes.
Okay, so everybody, yeah, that was evidential. I mean, there were bits. I mean, we were play acting. That wasn't a real reading. She said yes to everything, but look at the structure of it. It was bits of messages, bits of evidence, all over the place. That's somebody that doesn't have a. We're going live, and I don't want to say it, but you know what I want to say. A word beginning with F and ending in ing. Clue about what they're doing. And if they were giving me the message after about 10 minutes, I'd have said, look, sorry, let's just end it here. And if I'd paid them, I'd have asked for my money back. And even if I had paid them, I think I would still have just walked, and they weren't going to give me the money back. I would still walk out, because that is bad mediumship from beginning.
I've traded readings with people, and sometimes it's so bad mediumship that I'm just like, no, I don't want to do my bit.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't think we should say this, but
don't say it.
No, but it illustrates what we're trying to talk about. The last 3 open circles, well, they're not open circles, but the last 3 screening circles that we've done, each one of them has had a professional American medium come. Yes. Now, I'm not going to mention any names, but if you're watching this, you know who you are, if you're one of those 3. And each one of them, I think the longest one of them lasted was 10 minutes.
About 10 minutes, yes.
And they just panic and leave. Why do they panic? Okay, sometimes I ask them to give readings, and then I say, no, don't do this, don't do that, don't let me see you doing that, blah, 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 blah. Sometimes they've seen me doing readings, and every single time they've seen me doing a reading, you can actually look at them and see them turning white. Or I tell them, I don't want you to use your cards in your reading, or I want you
to follow my methodology in the reading, and they can't do it, or they argue about it.
Yeah, but it's self-defensive argument, like, I'm going to teach you how to read and write. I don't need to know how to read and write. That's ludicrous, but that's the level of what we're talking about. Anyway, I think we're running out of time. Oh God, we're at 34 minutes.
We are. So stop talking and say goodbye, everybody.
So everybody, goodbye. Now we've changed the ending. What do I mean? Well, let me just show you. So it's been a pleasure, and we shall be back next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday.
So with that, it's farewell, good night.
Good night, everybody.
And we'll see you next Tuesday.